From retro to next gen, we've got it all. I'm George, a Gen X grown-up, and this is Bit by Bit. Here's a blockchain bit from VentureBeat.com. Atari is partnering with B3 to bring some games to blockchain. Now, I'm not going to lie. I tried to read this article. I tried to understand it. I think my brain is just too damn old to figure this out. But apparently, Atari is putting some of their games on something called B3. I have no idea what the hell's going on here. I'm only including this article in this episode just so maybe somebody can help me figure out what the hell games are doing on blockchains that I thought had something to do with virtual money and stuff. I'm just too old to figure this out. But anyway, I'll make sure to put the article link in the description so maybe you guys can go read it and educate me in the comments. Here's a bit from GamesBeat.com. This is not an article that I suggest reading. It's a very tough read, actually, but the only reason I'm bringing it here is because it is about a Kickstarter that's going on right now that is going to be active for another like 10 or 15 days for a book called Supercade. Now, this author already published one book, and they talk about it a little bit further down. The first book, I guess, was in 2003, and then they did a second book in 2023 that had the years 85 to 2001. That original 2003 book is what's being reissued now. So reissued and remastered of a book about video game history. It's already been funded. It's on Kickstarter. They've got a little over $50,000 of their $34,000 goal. The reason why it's so hard to read, I think, is because the article itself basically is just a transcription of this introduction, but then tried to put into somebody else's words. It's really kind of weird. But anyway, they've got some decent prices on some of this stuff. $35 for a soft cover, $65 for a hard cover, and so on and so forth. It goes all the way down. There's $100, $200, $300 levels, $550. Good Lord. $1,000 level for a book? No. A $9,000 level for a book. Okay. That's a little crazy. I hadn't seen that before I just read this. Anyway, the Kickstarter has a lot more, so that's the only reason why I linked the article here, because it's got a link to the Kickstarter campaign. If you're interested in this kind of thing, you like these books on video game history, it might be worth a look, but don't bother trying to read the article because it's pretty poorly written. Here's another bit from our friends over at TimeExtension.com. Normally, Dragon's Lair is a favorite topic of mine, but in this case, I'm a little torn on this article. So they're re-releasing the original Game Boy port, quote-unquote port, of Dragon's Lair called Dragon's Lair The Legend. Now, for those in the know, the Game Boy title came out in 1991, but it's really not Dragon's Lair. It's a reskin, and I'll find it here for you in the article. Yeah, a reskin of Elite's 1985 ZX Spectrum game, Roller Coaster. Now, I've never played that game, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is not Dragon's Lair by any stretch of the imagination, only in name, I suppose. I don't know why anybody would want to re-release such a reviled title. It wasn't very popular as far as I know, but they're coming out with it. Almost $50 for the re-release. Boy, that's a tough pill to swallow. You can get the digital edition for $5, I suppose. It does look pretty. The box, the manual, the cartridge, all of that stuff looks nice, but I mean, when you've got that article that we reviewed on Bit by Bit a few episodes ago where they did the impossible Game Boy Color port, it just makes you wonder, why go back to a well that nobody wanted to drink from? Here's a bit from AndroidAuthority.com. The new Dolphin Emulator update is finally out, and we get some enhancements for GameCube and Wii emulation. So let's talk about this. This just happened March 10th, a little bit before that, but it's released 2503 on all platforms. The biggest thing is that You can now do cheats with retro achievements, so that's kind of cool. I guess there's a hardcore mode. I don't know a lot about Dolphin Emulator. I need to learn more about it because I love me some Nintendo Wii and GameCube games. So they got this stuff in place with the retro achievement staff, which is nice. They haven't been implemented on the mobile version, though, so only, I guess, on the desktop versions. After that, though, the thing that caught my eye was that they now have game-by-game graphical settings. So I think that's really important because when you go into some of these emulators and you play the games, I think it's very important that you get to set your different graphic settings for the individual games so that you can get the most out of them and relive your memories and have nostalgic gameplay that's more like what it was when you played the game originally. So that's really cool that you can adjust those. Now, apparently this was already available on the Android version, so no new update there, but on all the other platforms. A few other changes on the desktop version of the app, how much time you've wasted on your favorite games. I don't consider it wasted time. But anyway, there's a lot of new stuff in this new 2503 update. So if you're a Nintendo, GameCube, or Wii fan, I think you should probably download this update and check it out. Here's another Doom bit from TechRadar.com. Somebody has gotten Doom, Quake, and Half-Life to run on a smartwatch. Look at that image. That's just so freaking cool. I love this. I mean, having all three of those games on the smartwatch is awesome. There's a couple of bullet points here that talk about what they think they used, which is a program called X-Ash 3D. Hadn't heard of it before, although I think I've read about it in a couple other articles. Anyway, this is a very quick little article because it's mainly just based on a Reddit post where the person who's done it just posted this thing, said, hey, finally Half-Life on a smartwatch. Couple of other images here that are just beautiful and crisp, and then this last one is an actual video that you can see of the game running on the smartwatch. That's just so freaking cool. I love that. I almost want to buy a smartwatch now just to be able to try and do this. They go into a little bit more history about how Half-Life went back to 1998, of course, and the only smartwatch you could get back then was one that had a 102 and 64 pixel monochrome LCD. They go on a little bit further. It's definitely not an Apple Watch, which, of course, you know, most of these are going to be on some kind of an Android system with side-loaded APKs. 60 frames per second is something that somebody recently did with GTA, which is why they think it's this particular PSP emulator that's running this. But look at that. That's just so cool that they can play Doom, Half-Life, Quake. Anyway, people amaze me these days. That's going to do it for the news making headlines in the gaming world right now. I am George, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, and I'll keep on bringing you the news bit by bit.